First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this, something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
Welcome once again to the Dr. Alim El-Bey show. Tonight's discussion is going to be on Freemasonry and its ancient connections. Before we get into real deep discussion, I just want to bring out some things. For example, when you go to Gerald Massey's lectures, he states that the name Freemason is derived from the ancient Metu word Freemason, and that's spelled P-H-R-E-E-M-E-S-S-E-N. Now, this is important to remember because the word Freemason is connected to Hermes, known as Hermes or Hermes Trismegistus. And Freemason means a child of light, a child of the light. There's many misconceptions in which that is going on right now because a lot of this information is being tied to the Illuminati and Adam Weishaupt, May 1st, 1776. And that's relatively moderate compared to this ancient information in which that is still on the walls today in the temples and the pyramids in what is called Egypt, known as Kemet or Temeri. What we want to do tonight is go more in depth and further back into the information because everyone knows all of a sudden nowadays, thanks to the internet, about the Illuminati, and that's a very small elite group of individuals, and how they dictate policies and how they control the world is first through mastering the power of the mind by utilizing possibly more than just 2 to 10% of the brain, in which that everybody else they keep indoctrinated to the point or to the facility or to the fragment thinking of just using that 2 to 10%. And that is a serious consequence and is detrimental to the growth of people, especially our people. All right? Especially our people. We have to begin to start using more than just 2 to 10% of our brain. Where do we get this statistic from? Well, scientists state that the average person uses approximately 10%. And it's only 10% of the left hemisphere of the brain, actually, and very rarely do they tap into the left hemisphere of the brain, and very rarely do they tap into the right hemisphere of the brain. So we're talking about 40% of the left hemisphere of the brain, 50% of the right hemisphere of the brain, hence 90%, in which that goes unused. That is just like the stars in the sky. The stars is embedded through the glue or the fabric of the universe called dark matter, which is symbolic to the melanin within our bodies, in which that we only see 10% of the visible spectrum, hence stars or light, through all of the dark matter or black energy. The same goes for the fact that only 10% of our DNA is activated. The other 90%, which is called junk DNA, is inactive or non-coding. At least that's what scientists were at least one time was speculating. Thanks to the solar flare activity in which that is taking place today and will continue to take place, it is mutating our DNA and is reactivating 10 strands of DNA physically, in which that would give us 12 strands, in which that there would be an etheric counterpart to those 12, in which that would give us 24. So you would have 12 physical strands of DNA and eventually 12 ethereal strands of DNA, hence 24, which is also correlating to the fact of the 24 scientists mentioned, or the 24 elders mentioned in the book of Revelation. That also correlates to the 12 pair of cranial nerves, in which that sits around the pineal gland, in which that, according to the book of Revelation, it speaks about the 24 elders fell down and worship God day and night, singing praise unto God. So these are the things in which that transpire, but these are all aspects talking about the physical body. So when we do any research or study on mythology, on allegories, we always have to take it back to the physical body and the aspects and the components and the concepts of the physical body and the various multi-levels of the bodies, whether it's the physical body, the ethereal body, the astral body, which is the emotional body, the mental, causal, spiritual, or soul body. You are 7 bodies. Some say 9, in which that they add in certain aspects coming from the Kemetic teachings, in which that we'll go into a little bit later. But eventually we will grow into 12 bodies plus 1 outside of us. This is what is going on. If you read the book of Revelation, it speaks about there were 7 stars in the right hand of the Son of Man. Then by the time, that was in Revelation, the 1st chapter, by the time you go to Revelation, the 12th chapter, it changes to 12 stars around the head of the woman. So it jumps from 7 stars to 12 stars. Well, this is the same thing in which that is going on with us, that we're jumping from 7, 9, 12 bodies eventually. And also what is going on is something that's mentioned within Revelations, which is important, which is based on the number of wisdom and based on the number of man, which is called the mark of the beast, which is talking about the mark of the physical body. The physical body is the mark of the beast, not just what is happening in society based on what you've read in the Illuminati or based on the conference, the CFR or Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, Trilateral Commission, IMF, World Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, etc. All of those things are the elite attempting to manufacture a parallel or alternating universe to what is actually supposed to be taking place inside of you. And if you get caught up on the illusion on what they're doing, then you have received what is referred to as the mark of the beast in that sense. So, yes, in that regard, you have and you will. However, the thing is not to get caught up into their illusions, which is part of this matrix. The science of 666 has now come to the forefront, and the truth is being told, in which that if you get the book Montauk, The Pyramids of Montauk, written by Peter Moon, he states in there that 666 is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, which is talking about carbon. Carbon is the sixth element on the periodical chart. Adam was made on the sixth day. The day is in reference to Adam, hence the name Adam, the sixth atom, which is carbon, which is derivative of what we now call melanin. Hence the reason why in the Holy Quran it says that Adam was made from black mud. The black mud is referring to melanin. So, when we get into these teachings, you have to understand that you have to take it back further than just blood rituals and sacrifices and the Illuminati controlling the world and so forth and so on. You have to take it back to your own physical body and see these concepts within you so that you can master yourself and so that you can become the perfect man, perfect woman, or the perfect temple structure, the Mosaic temple, Solomon's temple, all right? Or come after, or be a priest after the order of Melchizedek. All of these are concepts of the same, or one of the 144,000, or one of the 7 Elohims, archangels. Whatever the case is, they're all talking about a particular science of mastering the physical body and its components, whether it's hormonal, chemical, spiritual, mental, emotional. It's all talking about in reference to the same thing. All right? So, on the walls of the Temple of Heru, you will see an initiation of Tahuti and Horus, which is Heru, with an individual standing in the middle of them, and he's going through the initiation of the Mys. The word Mys, M-E-S, becomes Mos, M-O-S, which becomes Moses within the Bible. There's been many Moses throughout the various dynasties in Egypt. You had Moses, Moses, Thutmoses, and many Thutmoses. All right. As a matter of fact, you had Thutmoses III, in which that the Moses character partially in the Bible is derived from. The other portion is derived from Akhenaten and Sargon I of Assyria. All right. So if you look during the dynasties, you will see that during the 13th and 17th dynasty, you'll find the invasion of the Hyksos, who came from out of the land of Canaan. The Hyksos were the Moors, as they later became known as. All right? And that was during the dynasties of the 13th and 17th, what is called the Second Intermediate Period of 1783 through 1550 BC, or before the Christian era. Then, of course, you had Moses, Thutmoses the First, Thutmoses the Second, Thutmoses the Third, and all of them came during the time of the dynasties of the 18th and the 19th and the 20th, 18th, 19th, and 20th dynasty during that time period, or during the 1500 through 1170 BC. And this is the time of this particular Mys or Mos initiation, in which that, as part of the initiation, this is when the ancient mystery school was flourishing, and part of the initiation was you getting initiated, or in a sense baptized, because we know that the character John the Baptist, according to Jeremiah's lectures, John the Baptist was fictitious, did not physically exist. That was the Neter Enpu, known as Anubis. Okay. Also known as, that was in one sense. In another sense, he was also Wasan, which is another name for Tahuti. So Tahuti was also an initiator. Enpu was the initiator into the death realm or the afterlife. Tahuti was also the initiator on this physical plane of existence. Okay? Along with Tahuti, he's the recorder of the deeds of action of man, woman, the good and bad deeds as we perceive. In other words, the recorder of information within the left and right hemisphere of the brain, the cherubims or the cerebrum. Hence the reason why Muslims say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah to the barakatuhu to the right, and Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah to barakatuhu to the left. Is because they're talking to the angels who record and write down all the deeds and actions, which is talking about the two hemispheres of the brain, or the two covering areas called the cerebrum, or the cherubims, as they're known as, the two angels who stood at the gate of the Garden of Eden to keep Adam and Eve from coming in to eat of the tree of life. That is all symbolic. All right? So, understand that these stories are allegories. All right? Now, Mesin, which is from Mesin, which is Mason, also means mother's son or mom's son, hence the term widow's son. Because remember, in the story, Osar, which is Osiris, was killed by 72 conspirators. They become the three ruffians within the Masonic law. All right? Of course, 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 is a multiple of 3. So this is where that story comes from. And of course, they changed to Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff is Heru M. Arquette, which is the Sphinx. All right, now we know that the Sphinx was the initiator. All right, this is what this ties into. Sphinx was the initiator in the ancient mystery schools, or what is called the Herbach, the light teachings. And you had to go and stand in between the paws of the Sphinx. And there would be a high priest, a sim, that would speak from behind one of the middle part, the panel of the paw, and will ask 3 questions. Now, one of the questions, which is most awfully taught, or at least we know of, is what crawls on 4s, then walk on 2s, and then eventually on 3s. All right? Well, everyone that I know, or mostly everyone, knows that is man. Man first crawls on 4 as an animal in the horizontal, then he stands erect, hence a 90-degree perpendicular level, and eventually as he ages and grows old, he needs a cane in order to help him stand. All right? So all of this is taught. But the key is that Mesin is another name for Heru, Herumis, or Hermes, as we stated earlier. Where you also get the word Christmas, which is Christmas. Christmas is the mummified body of Osar. Because remember, Heru is the incarnation of the son of Osiris. Now, the strange thing is that in Hebrew, once the so-called Jews got these stories, in a sense they kind of twisted it, because in their Hebrew text, whether it's the Kabbalah or whether some other book, the Mishnah or whatever the case is, Uriel is known as the light of God. So Heru's name in Hebrew is Uriel, which means the light of God. However, when you translate Uriel into Latin, it becomes Lucifer, the light bringer or the light bearer. Now, this is all correlating, however, to the energy in which that permeates your very existence, known as the Mother Goddess Principle, the Holy Spirit, which is the Black Madonna, hence, and Child, which is Mary and Jesus within the biblical New Testament text or sense. And it is all symbolic to the Kundalini energy, what is known as the Kundalini Shakti. All right? This principle resonates at the base of the spine, or what is called the root or base chakra. All right? So, this is where individuals get the concepts that Masons, Eastern Stars, etc. worship the devil, or from the word diva, which is the Vedic name for God, as they would say. All right? Sanskrit name for God is diva. And that's where also the origin of the word devil comes from within our teachings. And also they demonified Eve, the woman principle. Hence they transformed her into a Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit. So hence you have the Father who art in heaven, the Son, but yet no mother. But they do put the mother in there in the Catholic Church, in which that becomes the Mother Mary Jesus, who is known also as the Mother of God. And she's also known as the Queen of Heaven. So hence, the Catholic Church do put the women back in that regard, even though they still don't have the full understanding of the sexual energy, because that's what the woman or the Kundalini energy actually represents in that regard. So hence, they are celibate or they do not get married, even though I heard recently that has changed. But for so long, that energy was pent up and it caused perversion, as we know. So hence the reason why you have the Catholic priests and bishops and so forth and so on messing with children is because of the pent-up frustration or the energy in which they're trying to master, but can't master unless there's some type of outlet. And if you're not meditating and circulating the energy in a microcosmic or macrocosmic orbit, then it's not doing anything but settling within that energy, building and building and building. So hence, eventually, the energy has to come forth, and you end up doing something in which that you might possibly regret and end up getting put in the news media for doing so. This is what all of this is all talking about. So you'll find out that in Masonry and Eastern Star that it's about the sexual energy. Now, how we know is because look at the symbolism. When you look at the compass and square, that is the vesica or the vagina. All right? When you look at the making of Washington, D.C., we know that Benjamin Banneker or Ben Bey Emmanuel Mo Ali or Moore of the Lenape, he was a prince, of the Lenape of the northern Washington particular tribes, when he built D.C. or designed D.C., the government also, he designed it in a diamond-shaped fashion between Maryland and Virginia. Virginia is Virginia, virgin. The Virgin who? The Virgin Mary. That is her land. So hence in the center of D.C. is D.C., hence for the word Dick, D.C., Dick, is the obelisk, the Tekin, or the Tekin, in which that stands 555 feet tall, which goes to the number 15, 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15, and then, of course, 1 plus 5 is 6. So hence, back to man again. Symbolic to what make a man is the elongated clitoris, which is the phallus symbol, the penis. So hence, it stands in the center of Washington, D.C., in between the diamond shape or the vesica compass and square shape of the city. And, of course, we know that other things within the city are based on Masonic symbolism or built by the master mason, the master builder, and the grand architect known as Benjamin Bey, also known as Judge Ben Bey. So you would understand that this energy in which that is being worked with within the craft of masonry, of the Eastern Star, and of these other secret societies, OTO, the AA, the Golden Dawn, the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati, all of these particular groups are actually utilizing sexual energy. Now, within Qigong, we refer to it as Qi. Within Reiki, it's Qi. Within the Pranayama, breath control teachings, it's called Prana. Within the ancient Kemetic teachings, it is Ra or Ray. The same energy which we are a concentration of, which is sexual energy, it is also universal energy. And as true Masons and true stars, and we are Masons and we are stars. We are born this way. Scientists have already proven that your physical composition is composed of stardust. So don't get spooky or spooked out. The Eastern Star is in several regards to Venus, which is the symbol of love or the planet of love, and then also to Isis, which is Sirius A, the brightest star in the sky. The inverted position of the star within the Eastern Star symbolizes descending energy, feminine energy coming down. In other words, the Kundalini Prana, in which that is the all-pervading energy of the universe, 300,000 tons of stardust energy falls to the planet Earth daily. And you as a melanated being is supposed to absorb your share of this fallen energy because you yourself is a fallen angle of light, a fallen star. Once again, scientists have already stated that your physical body is composed of stardust energy. You are a walking, talking, living star. In order to survive, let's understand this a little bit better, a little bit clearer. If I took a speck of blood, a strand of hair, a flake of skin, I could clone a whole nother you into existence, according to genetics, to the Human Genome Project. What that means is this. Real simply put, you are in hologram because each cell can make a whole nother you into existence. You have 76 trillion cells in your body. And what does a hologram need in order to survive? A hologram needs light to survive. So you are a light vampire. You need light. As a melanated being, as people who have melanin, in the various grades, in the various shades, you need light. A heavy melanated being needs at least an hour of light a day in order to align their chakras. You have 7 major chakras, some say 9. You are growing into 12, hence the star chakra, which would be 13th, would be one outside of the physical body, so eventually you will have 13. But that's another story. But right now, we're working with the 7 model because the scriptures or Revelation speak about the 7 chakras. The word chakra in church is the same word. Take out the consonants. Take out the vowels and leave the consonants, and they are the same consonants. The K become a CH also in the sound. Because remember, in the Metuneta, there are no vowels. The vowels were sacred. Matter of fact, the word vowel is an oath, something that is sacred. El within Hebrew means God, force or power. So the sacred word of God, or the sacred tone or sound of God, or the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. So if you understand, overstand, and understand that, you can actually use the vowels to resonate and to open and activate your 7 churches or your 7 seals. What we're talking about is true masonry here. In the book of Revelation, the 22nd chapter, the 16th verse, it says Jesus is also referred to as the bright and morning star. We know that Lucifer is too known as the bright and morning star in the book of Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken. So they both are symbolic to this morning star. All right. We know that Venus is known as the morning star. That before the sun comes up, the brightest object in the sky is Venus, the planet. So Venus is one of the morning stars, right? But so is Jupiter. But that is astrotheology, in which that the Bible is astrotheology. But in another regard, it has many different layers to it. It is not a historical book. It is an allegorical book, astrotheological book, a metaphysical, esoteric book. So never get caught up into the characters, because they are fictitious, or either they are based on individuals who lived prior, who are now passed on. And you yourself could be the incarnations of those individuals. Nevertheless, Jesus and Lucifer are symbolic to the 2 extremes of the same polarity. One called negative descending energy, matter, which is what we call Lucifer, and the other positive ascending energy, spirit, Christ. The symbolism of the spirit as masculine and matter as feminine is actually symbiotically, I should say. So do not take that as just the mean gender. It's not to be tied to man or woman as their personal identities. This is where a lot of this argument comes in at. Spirit is prototype as male or king. Matter, mother, is templified by a woman figure. That's normally how they do that. But essentially, the mind, the soul, is sexless. Okay? So, don't get confused. These are just words in which that is trying to describe for you the essence in which that is within you. So it's not for you to become spooky and to run away from yourself. Because I know some of you run away from yourselves when this information is presented to you. Or when you present this information to others, they run. They don't want to hear that the devil is within them, that the devil is the double of their higher self, that you have a lower self that you must master, and that there are certain traits of the lower self, lust, greed, jealousy, and envy, in which that you must master on this physical plane. And when you don't master them, oftentimes you get in trouble. So the mastery is necessary so you can ascend into the heavens to your higher self, which is to your Lord and personal Savior, to your God, to your soul. Of course, God and soul are synonymous in the scriptures. Ruku, el-Qudus. Ruku within Hebrew, which is Ra within Kemet, means wind, fire. The breath of air within you is what ignites the fire within you, which gives you the ability in order to have for your body to be at a consistent 98.6 degrees in temperature. That fire is nestled at the solar plexus, known as your abdominal brain. We'll get into that in a second, because all this that I'm telling you is very important, and it is all part of Freemason or Masonry. Freemasonry. We're not talking about the European and his perversion. We're talking about our ancient connections to this information. All right. Let's get into another aspect of this. In the Apocrypha, Enoch the First, which is the Ethiopic Enoch, he speaks about the 7 archangels, or the 7 Elohim. We went over that Uriel is symbolic to Heru, which is symbolic to Lucifer in the Latin transliteration. All right? And that's how it became perverted. But remember, originally, they'll tell you that Lucifer was the second in command, the second highest in heaven behind Michael, the archangel. So originally, Uriel, who they call Lucifer, Iblis within Arabic, was once in the position of Gabriel. All right? What this means is that when you look up in the Dictionary of Angels by Godwin, I think it's by Godwin, in the Dictionary of Angels, Uriel is known to be the angel of light or the angel of fire, which is, of course, the physical manifestation of light. He's the angel of Hades, but he also symbolizes salvation. All right? Matter of fact, he's the keeper of hell. This is the position in which that God relegated Iblis or Lucifer down into when they say that he fell from heaven. But he always continued to be the archangel of God. This is why in the book of Job, he's able to walk up amongst the angels and speak to God face to face while they are praying and worshiping him. So he symbolized the last angel, the 7th angel. The 6th angel is Raguel, the angel of the friend, symbolizes repentance, symbolizes the navel chakra. So Uriel symbolizes the root chakra. Raguel symbolizes the navel chakra. Then you have Zerachiel, which means the angel of the army. It symbolizes surrender, which symbolizes the solar plexus, which I was speaking about earlier. That's your abdominal brain. There's a scientists have found that within that particular area there's white and gray matter, just like in the brain, and that there are neurons located there, just like in the brain. This is why your stomach, when you're nervous, you feel like butterflies or nervousness, tension, or anxiety within that particular area. Also, when you're hungry, it speaks. It growls, makes noises. All of these things are symbolic to the fact that that is also a brain. It thinks. This is where your instincts emerge from. Your gut instincts. Your animal magnetism extends from the solar plexus. Raphael is the angel of healing, symbolizes the heart chakra. Remiel, the angel of thunder, symbolizes joy, the throat chakra. Gabriel, the angel of the earth, messenger to the earth, the energy that resides within the stratosphere, is symbolic to the resurrection. He's symbolic to the third eye, and hence Uriel used that the position of the third eye. This is when you'll see the serpent on the crown of the ancient Egyptians, or Kemetans, or Kamau, or what is known as the Temerians. You will see the serpent there at the third eye area, symbolic to the raising of the third eye, hence the resurrection. The Kundalini has been resurrected. Uriel, or Lucifer, has been resurrected to now become the Christ. Of course, Dr. York told us this a long time ago, that Jesus was the son of Gabriel. Well, that is all symbolic, because that is Heru being the son of Tahuti. So hence, remember, we spoke earlier about the initiation, that you as an initiate into the ancient mysteries, whether it's through an actual initiation or whether it's through life, because the ancestors will initiate you when they see fit for your growth, if you're in tune with them, of course. And you get initiated by truth and reality, or wisdom and reality. All right? Then you have Michael, who names mean he who dares to be like God. He's the chief of the archangels. He's also symbolic to the crown chakra, or the pineal gland. He is Melchizedek, Yanam, Adonai-El, Zadkiel, Sabbatiel. Symbolizes protection. He's the Ancient of Days. Right? These are the 7 archangels, the 7 Elohims in the Moorish Science Temple of America. In the teachings, in the 101, it speaks about the 7 eyes of Allah. These are the 7 eyes of Allah. If you get the book Freemasonry of the Ancient Egyptians, I think it's by Manly P. Hall. He was 33 degrees. He said it is now generally acknowledged that the Egyptians, of all the ancient people, were the most learned in the occult sciences of nature. The wisest of philosophers from other nations visit Egypt to be initiated into the sacred mysteries by the priests of Thebes, Memphis, and Helmopolis. In the book Freemasonry is Hidden Meaning by George H. Steinsmith, he states that regardless of the origin of the modern lodge or of the name Freemason, we can, after freeing the symbolism of modern adaptation, so the modern Masons adapted the symbolism from Egypt. He says that we can discern in Freemasonry that the outline of the teachings of the is of the ancient mysteries of Egypt. Now this is can be shown again in many books. In the ancient origin of Freemasonry, in the spiritual signs and symbols of primordial man, and Freemasonry and its Egyptian influence. All right, those books was written by Albert Churchward. All right, even in the Kabbalion, by the three initiates, it states that from Old Egypt have come the fundamental esoteric and occult teachings, which have so strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and people for several thousand years. Egypt, home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of the hidden wisdom and mystic teachings. From her secret doctrine, all nations have borrowed: India, Persia, Chaldea, Medes, China, Japan, Assyria, ancient Greece and Rome, and other ancient countries partook liberally at the feast of the knowledge. Albert Pike, 33 degrees of the southern jurisdiction, even though he was a northerner. In his book, Morals and Dogma, of course, this is where the concept of the Masons worship Lucifer come from, but you got to understand that that is Heru, as we said earlier. So anyone who studied the Kemetic teachings, who acknowledged Heru, that's who you're actually referring to. Except it was perverted by the Jews to show that there was a falling of the light energy. In other words, light became matter, or Einstein's theory of relativity, which is E equal mc squared. Energy equals mass per constant speed of light. Energy can become matter, matter becomes energy. But anyway, he says Egypt has always been considered as the birthplace of the mysteries. It was there that the ceremonies of initiation was first established. It was there that truth was first veiled in allegory, and the dogmas of religion was first imparted under the symbolic forms. All right. Also, you get the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, heading the Egyptian mysteries. Also, you get the Stellar Theology and Masonic Astronomy by Robert Brown Jr. He says the mysteries of all the other nations were quite similar to those of Egypt and were no doubt derived from them. All right. Manly P. Hall goes on to say, every pagan people nation has not only its state religion, but another in which that is philosophical elect alone has gained entrance. Many of these ancient cults vanished from the earth without revealing their secrets, but a few have survived to test of ages, and their mystery symbols are still preserved. Much of the ritualism of Freemasonry is based on the trials in which candidates were subject by the ancient Egyptian hierophants before the keys of wisdom was entrusted to them. Another one, this is Master Mason Salami, is Sandak. He explains the origin of this philosophy and its place in modern masonry. Goes on. In ancient Egypt, there was a religious society that bequeathed a system of thought and belief to Hermeticism. Of course, remember that's Hermes, or Hermes Trismegistus, which is Tahuti. Masonry held something similar to this. For example, those who had come to a certain level attended ceremonies of the society, revealed their spiritual thoughts and feelings, and trained those who were at a lower level. Pythagoras was a Hermetist, trained amongst them. Again, the organization and the philosophical systems of the Alexandrian school and of the Neo-Platonism, Plato, had their origin in ancient Egypt. And there were some significant similarities between them and Masonic rites. Freemasonry is a society and ritual organization which beginnings go back to ancient Egypt. In Egypt, Cradle of the Ancient Masonry by Norman Frederick D. Clifford. He goes to great lengths to show that Masonry extends all the way back to the ancient Egyptian mysteries. So, these are things in which that we have to understand, and understand. All right? Yeah, if you're a scared motherfucker, go to church. That's the way I feel about all of this. Because you shouldn't be scared of yourself. You should be searching and scratching, digging in order to find self, in order to find your higher self. You know when you do some wrong shit, you feel it. If you got a soul, you feel it. Of course, there's people on this planet that don't have souls. You know, according to African Origin of Biological Psychiatry by Dr. Richard King, you got 5 to 15% of Africans who have calcified pineal glands, 20 to 35% Asians, and 60 to 80% Europeans that have calcified pineal glands. So they don't have access to that stargate, to that soul principle, to their higher selves. And if they attempt to raise up that Holy Spirit, known as the Kundalini energy, they could actually spontaneous combust. So that's just the simple fact of the matter. You know, the yogis teach, this is why the yogi traditions teach about being careful about raising the Kundalini, because of individuals in that predicament or in that situation. All right? But we get ready to go to the call line right now. We got a question on 3557, ended in 3557. You're on the line.
Hello?
Yes, greetings. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
I want to know what's the most effective process to become more conscious.
Breathing. The way that we've been taught how to breathe is not right and exact. We do not breathe with our chest. That is military-style breathing, as it has become known here within the Western civilization. We breathe with our belly. Most of the time, we're so busy trying to hold in our belly and our gut that we don't breathe from our belly or abdomen area, and that's where you need to breathe from. So when you breathe in, your belly should poke out like a balloon, and then as you breathe in, it should be sucked in or deflate like a balloon. All right? So that's the first thing, so that the air can get down into the lower lobes. You have 5 lobes on the right lung, 5 lobes in the left lung. 4 lobes in the left lung. So you have 9 lobes, and the oxygen needs to get down into that area so that the cells, when they gather the energy from the food as it is broken down within the digestive system, they can actually take the energy in order to replenish themselves so that the cells can live the appropriate time that it needs to. Because being that you have 76 trillion cells in your body, every 7 years, all of the cells in your body dies off, and then they are replaced by a whole another 76 trillion cells. All right, so what that means is that if they're not getting the proper nutrients, the proper oxygen, proper minerals, vitamins, etc., the proper water, alkaline water, proper alkaline electrical foods, which your diet should consist of at least 50% raw fruits, vegetables at this stage, So you should be eating apples, plums, pears, watermelon, cantaloupes. You should be eating this on a daily basis.
Okay.
So the science of all of this is the science of breath. The more you can lower your breath, the deeper you go into various states of consciousness. For example, at 18 breaths, which is the 18th breath is the average breath that the average person breathes, 18 breaths a minute. Well, if you cut that in half to 9 breaths a minute, you'll go into a different state of consciousness. So you'll go from interpersonal consciousness to intrapersonal consciousness. Then you cut that to 6 breaths a minute. To 7.5 breaths a minute, you go into life consciousness. At 6 breaths a minute, you go into subconsciousness. At 4.5 breaths a minute, you go into super consciousness. At 3 breaths a minute, you go into magnetic consciousness. And then at 1 breath a minute, you go into infinite consciousness. So the more that you lower your breath, the more that you elongate your inhalations and your exhalations, the more relaxed you are, the more you're open to the various energies that is coming from the universe, the more you're able to concentrate and focus, and the less angry you are, so hence the less aging and the less adrenaline flowing through the body, the less fear and tension and stress. Those things don't exist when you get at 3 breaths a minute. At 3 breaths a minute, no dis-ease can manifest within your physical body. And that is simply breathing in for a count of 10, out for a count of 10, in for a count of 10, out for a count of 10, in for a count of 10, out for a count of 10. So hence 10 times 6 is 60, which is 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 breaths a minute. So if you're able to do that, you can begin to go in the scale and work on your breaths, lowering your breath to at least 3 breaths a minute, eventually, which normally it takes about 3 weeks to master, so that the body can become in sync with that breath technique or that breath level in which that you're desiring to master. And
so you can master it?
Of course you can. That's what this life is all about. That's what this life is all about.
I've been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I'll keep it up.
Keep practicing. You have to do it. Normally, you have to do the 3 breaths for at least 1 hour, 60 minutes. And by doing so, you would tap into the atomic level or the atomic structure of yourself. If you master the 1 breath technique, then you would have to do that for 72 minutes, and you would tap into the subatomic particles of yourself. If you did 4.5 breaths a minute, which activate the pituitary gland, what you would do is actually tap into the molecular structure of yourself. So it goes in that in that rank. If you go and breathe for those certain amount of times, you would be able to tap into those various areas of yourself and change components of your aspects of yourself that you do not want. In other words, change up negative habits, smoking, drinking, fornication. All these things can be changed up by mastering the science of breath, because everything is based on breath.
Okay.
When you get nervous and scared, what the first thing happens? Your breath speeds up. You begin to hyperventilate.
Mhm.
So when you're having anxiety, when you're nervous, first thing happens is your breath starts speeding up. Even when you get ready to get into the sexual act, your breath starts speeding up, and which that normally causes the individual, the male particularly, to come quicker than he was expecting, because he was not able to control his breath.
Mm-hmm.
So the breath controls everything in your body. That is the mediator. That is the Jesus in your body. That is the Yahshua in your body. That is what is meant when you read the scripture that Jesus states that I am the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way you can get to the Father is but through me. The but through me is talking about the breath.
Mhm.
The breath is the controller between the lower self and the higher self. So the only way you can bypass the lower self and its tendencies of lust, greed, jealousy, and hatred is by mastering the science of breath, in which that leads you to the road or along the path, or what is called the Siddhartha Mustaqim, or the straight and narrow path, or the eye of the needle to the higher self, is the breath, the mediator.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for that information.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I'm going to continue listening.
All right. Please do.
All right.
Hello?
All right. Yes. Peace and blessings.
How you doing?
All right. Doing well. You have a question?
Yes, I thought I was hooked on with Kiki. I'm sorry. I guess I must have called in. How you doing?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. My son, I was calling in quiet because my son, 18. He's 18 as of now. He was 17 at the time when he caught the charge. And they charged him, they have him with a robbery charge, but they end up a Hobbs Act and transferring him over to the feds. They waited till the day that we got ready to sign for the boot camp, and the prosecutor stopped the sign, and then he called in for the federal agent to come in, for the marshals to come in. They extradited him over, and they hit him with the Hobbs Act, which is an organized crime, and now they're trying to give him 30 years for robberies that he didn't even commit or even have any knowledge of.
All right. So the trial is already over.
He's in feds now.
He's
in feds now. He was incarcerated on April 24th. Really, the lawyer, I paid the lawyer $18,500 within this year. And if you ask me, I think he was in cahoots with it because at the signing of the boot camp, he didn't even come into the courtroom. And the federal, but they don't call them the state, they call them the U.S. government, the prosecutors of the U.S. government. He said that he had given my son opportunity, and he also had spoke with the lawyer, and the lawyer was aware that they were going to be turned over into the feds. I didn't have any knowledge of it until that date. We was going to court back and forth. If I would have known, what was going on, had better knowledge of what was going on, I would not have let it allow that to happen to my child, to my son. My son had a full scholarship to Carson Newman. He was a couple of weeks from graduating, never had a parking ticket in his life. The principal came in. It was like coaches, teachers, all type of people came in to speak up for my son. But now we're in a totally different ball game. You're in the federal courts now. It's something totally different. When they went in for sentencing, the judge was James Lawrence King. He's an older judge. They had signed a plea agreement for 7 to 11 years that the U.S. government was asking for. The U.S. government had came to me and the lawyer and told me if he was to ask for a year and a day to 5 years, he wouldn't knock it because of my son's history. He's never been in trouble. But during the sentencing, the judge flipped out and said that he was not agreeing with the plea, and it wasn't enough time. I mean, they didn't give them enough time. He was not agreeing with the magistrate's judge, with the magistrate.
All right. What is the evidence that they have?
He did commit, actually, I know one robbery because they do have a gun in a mask. They caught him with a gun in a mask. But all those, 18, 19 robberies, it was times when he was at colleges. He was at Illinois University for college visits and all that. I really don't feel like the lawyer did his part.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I'm in the process of, I just met up with a friend of mine, and now she's helping me with him. With the background, she's giving me the knowledge of the Morse Indian things because I didn't have any knowledge of it at all. But I really feel like they're trying to railroad my child, and I don't think it's right at all.
All right. What I need for you to do is give me a call after the show, and I can tell you some information because we're dealing with a different topic tonight. But I need for you to give me a call. The number is 252.
Hold on. Let me get a pen right now. Hold on.
All right.
Whoa. The number is 252.
257.
257.
Yes, 3588.
Okay, my name is Misty. I'll be calling you.
All right, please do.
All right, thanks.
All right. All right, caller ending in 6910. 6910, you're on the line.
Just peace and blessings to the God and the Goddess. This is Brother Overwatch.
All right.
I'm good, sir. I like the music. So if you're scared, go to church.
Exactly.
Keep up the fight. We revolutionary people. We ain't got time for cowards and punks in our life.
No doubt.
I'm in this struggle with you, bro. Anything that I could do to assist you and the Goddess, feel free to call on me. Peace and love.
Thank you. That's Brother Dwayne Waters, y'all. Keep sending your prayers out to the brother for he can heal and get well. For as you heard, he's into this revolutionary struggle with us, and we all need to be revolutionarized. our minds, our bodies, everything need to be revolutionarized. So, please send forth those prayers to the brother. All right. We're going to go to the chat room. We have some questions in there. All right. Here we go. Let's see. What's the topic? All right. Lucifer is Adala Broth. Adala Broth is nothing more than who we would consider, quote unquote, according to the Gnostics, he broke forth from the mother goddess Sophia a little bit too soon, too early. But remember, there was two brothers. You had one who was Nomo and one who was Adala Broth. So in a sense, Adala Broth would be actually Set. All right, which Lucifer, in this regard, would be actually symbolic to also. All right, Set is, of course, is the setting sun. All right, and then Nomo, if you go to the Dogon, they have that same story of Amma, who is Sophia, within their information, in which that speaks about the two brothers, or the Nomos. And you had Ogo and you had Nomo. Ogo is Adala Broth. Nomo is Heru, or Star. All right, that's where that actually comes from. All right, so Adala Broth is actually symbolic to our sun, because our sun is a branch off from the debris from the implosion of the star constellation Sirius B. All right, Sirius B imploded, and the stardust energy accumulated within the orbit in which that formed our physical sun into existence, in which that, of course, our planets came from that formation. So hence the reason why the Dogons also say that we are from the star constellation Sirius. All right, so that is the answer to that. All right, of course, Holy Bible comes from Heliobiblios, which means the book of the sun, or the sun book, or sun pages. But it even goes deeper because it means raw papyrus, or raw paper raw, which is actually the rising and the evolution of Ra, which is actually taken from the Khafre pyramid text, hence / the Perhem Heru Sut text, which is talking about the book of the dead as is misnomered, or the book of coming forth by day and night. That's actually what the Bible and the Quran actually is a composite or a summary of coming from the book of coming forth by day and night, or Perhem Heru. All right, so that's where that comes from. All right, come on, give me some of these questions now. Okay, break down Baphomet. Baphomet is nothing more than Muhammad. All right. The Knights Templar was excommunicated from the Catholic Church because of their interaction with the Moors. Sahuddin, who was part of the Sufi order, in which they had acknowledged Prophet Muhammad. Of course, when you do the prayers, normally Muslims say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. So Muhammad became Baphomet by the Catholic Church because they wanted to demify Muhammad, but yet at the same instant, they acknowledge Islam because they call Mother Mary Fatima, the Lady Fatima. Now, hold up, if I'm not mistaken, Fatima is the daughter of Muhammad, according to the Hadiths. Now, if that is the case, then interesting, because what we really go to find out, if you read Walter Williams' book, The Historical Origin of Islam, you will find out that actually there was no Muhammad, because what you really will find out is that it goes back to the ancient Kemetic teachings once again. Mu, Ham, Mit. Mu, water. Ham, which is black. Mat, which is short for Mayat, which is truth. The waters of black justice, also which symbolizes a form of happy, a hap. All right, you have Mu, Hat, Mit. Mu, Hat, Ma'at, which is a form of happy. Happy was the river Nile god who brought Sarem. Sarem becomes the word Islam or Salam. So Muhammad brought Sarem, Islam. So this is where you get this information from, which is all according to the ancient Kemetic or the Metuneta breakdown of these various words. This is dealing with etymology, linguistics, and phonetics. If you don't understand those three, then you will always be trapped in the wordplay of the Albion known as trigonology by Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we recommend that you learn these sciences. Okay? So Muhammad or Baphomet, Baphomet is where they get this. They normally use the picture in which that was designed in the 1800s by Eliphas Levi, who is known as Levi Countess, and he's the one, or Alfonso Countess, and he's the one who supposedly drew this picture. And Eliphas Levi, if you get any of the history, he once sat at the helm of the head of the Rosicrucians, in which that actually he took off his crown and robe, and he actually put it on Pastel Beverly Randolph, all right, who was a Moor, and who brought to the West the teachings of sexual magic, hence Tantra Kriya Yoga, or Tantra, all right. He brought that information into the Western Hemisphere back in the 1800s, and he was best friends with Abraham Lincoln, who also was another Moor. And being that they was abolitionists, they had to devise a plan on how to free the slaves and give back 5 states, in which that was known as the Egypt of the West, which was part of the Washita proper, what is also referred to as the Louisiana proper, Louisiana Purchase, even though we know it was never purchased. And Thomas Jefferson gave his sentiments at the time for that fraud. Because we know that the only thing that was purchased was a few streets, in particular Bourbon Street, which they still have Mardi Gras on to this day, and some barracks. But because Napoleon never received his full funding and service was never rendered, because he's supposed to get $15 million in gold. Only $13 million in gold reached him. The other $2 million sunk beneath the ocean floor and off the coast of Florida. So he never received it. So hence service was never rendered. So hence the land was never purchased, those barracks in particular, and those streets. So the Louisiana Purchase or Washita proper was never purchased to begin with. So all of this has been lies. All of this has been lies. You know. Let me see. The father of Freemasonry, some say that it is Imhotep from the 3rd dynasty. Imhotep was under the pharaoh or the Nagu, Zoser or Dozer of the 3rd dynasty. Because of his teachings, he's the father of medicine, but he's also the father of healing, which in some sense he's the father of the Kundalini energy, so that will also be part of the ancient mystery school. So yes, it is known that he or is the one who resurrected or preserved or developed or cultivated that particular system of information coming from the healing aspect, because when the Kundalini raises up, it's supposed to actually heal your physical body and regenerate you, make you younger, stop the aging process, let no disease enter in, seal up the holes and links within the auric field, magnetize the auric field from 3 feet to 15 to a mile outside of your physical body. So these are all things in which are supposed to take place. All right. Let me see here. Let's continue. Let's continue going through this. All right. Let me see. Scottish and York rights. That is some European perversion in which that is taught in order to hold down the Moors. So you better come to the Moorish rights. Period. That's what I recommend. All right. The Moorish rights. You need to go to their website, www.moorishright.net. So go and check it out. The Al-Day, Brother Alim El-Bey. Very good brother. And the information is excellent. And, of course, we know we deal with the first Masonic master, who is known as Angelo Solomon of the Harmony Lodge. And, of course, you know, you had several people who was part of that lodge. You had the individual who did the 3 Musketeers, who was part of that lodge, as well as also Mozart, who was part of that lodge. So there was some individuals who was known in history who was all Moors, and they was all part of that same lodge. Okay? The New World Order can't win. Real simple. We're the gods of this planet. We've been here the longest. As we say already, that we've been here over 2.8 billion years. So if we haven't eliminated ourselves by now, then nobody else can eliminate us. All right. All right. Astral travel comes from the solar plexus, so you have to have a strong solar plexus. So in order to have a strong solar plexus, what you must do is alternating nostril breath technique, in which that you would breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 16, and breathe out for a count of 8, alternating between the nostrils, and then focusing your mind on the solar plexus. By focusing your mind on the solar plexus, you remove fear, anxiety, depression, disappointment, nervousness, and all these things are removed by you focusing your energy there. Strengthening the solar plexus and removing all of these things in which that clogs and blocks the solar plexus from activating. Once you have removed all of these blockages, then you can activate and you can actually astral travel and astral project. Now, soul travel is different. Soul travel happens from the top of the head, from the crown chakra, from the pineal gland. You'll hear like a popping noise when you exit from out of that particular area. It's loud, like a cap gun or a 22. Okay? So that is how you soul travel. And soul travel is different because on the astral plane, you only are relegated to the astral plane. So you're only on the astral plane. Soul travel, you can actually go to all planes of existence, whether it's the physical, ethereal, astral, which is the emotional, the mental, the causal, spiritual, or soul. You can go to all of them. All right, so let's see what else, some questions that else we have. It says, the Twa people are the pygmies. They are the oldest people on the face of the planet. You can get the book, The Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man by Albert Churchward. He breaks them down in there. You can get his brother's book, James Churchward, which is the Lost Continents of Mu, or the Lost Children of Mu. He breaks it down in there that the Twa or the pygmies, which is also known as the best people, BES, or the people who not just built the pyramids and the pyramids or the Merus and the Tekins, the obelisks, or the temples in Egypt, but they also were here in the Western Hemisphere over 2 million years ago off the island of Hawaii, which was once called Lemuria at that time of El Moria, and they was known as the Amu people at that particular time, or the Amu or Elmore people at that particular time. So this is also where we have the oldest track of the name Moor based back to. It's from the Twa people, and the Twa people are our descendants. They are the oldest people on the face of the planet, and we as being melanated people are their direct descendants. We came directly from them. All right. Let me see here.
How often do you astral travel? I told him that not about me and you, it's about you.
All right. Well, how often do I astral travel? Oh, shoot. From childhood until now, I have had hundreds and thousands of experiences, brother. All right. So I recommend, you mastering that yourself, because I've had hundreds and thousands of experiences, and also remote viewing, as many others. Let me see here. How to free Dr. York. Well, enough paperwork has already been put in for Dr. York in order to be free from jail. As much information in which that has been put in, it probably will take the courts nearly 50 years in order to read all the information. And that's one of the problems. That's one of the problems. So the thing is that you can't have that much information put in. Now, if the information wasn't put in, let me go and tell you how would we be able to do it. All right, number one, you would have to do a UCC1 financial statement and capture the straw man. So Dwight York, in all caps, would have to have been captured by Imam Isa or by one of his other names in which that he have used. Okay? Now, he, which is his indigenous name, his indigenous appellation, Imam Isa, Dr. Malkazi York, whatever name was that he using, will have to be the secure party over Dwight York. Remember, they captured him under the title or name Dwight York. That is his straw man name. So that will have to be captured. And then you have to do a security agreement, private agreement, hold harmless indemnity clause, bond for discharge, private bond, bill of exchange to charge back. All these things will have to be done. Okay? All these things will have to be done. Now, that information will have to be sent with copyright, UCC1, affidavit, security agreement, private agreement, whole harmless indemnity clause, collateral listing of all the property and assets. Everything will have to be sent. Sometimes you can save and put the security agreement to the side, but you can take all this information down actually to the Register of Deeds, get it put on file. Once it's put on file, even the security agreement, everything is put on file. What you can do then is take the security agreement out, put it to the side because that's yours, that's a private agreement, and then you can send off the other documentation to Timothy Geithner, who's the United States Secretary of Treasury, and he can open and activate your UCC Trust account. Once your UCC Trust account is activated, then you can be able to discharge and accept for value those debts. So you can accept for value, in this instant, the bond in the case. How would you know how much the bond is? Oh, well, real simple. Well, you can go to fidelity.com, www.fidelity.com. And I'm speaking fast because I don't have much time and I'm trying to get all these questions in. So pay attention or either go back and listen to this over again. So this is the key. So once you activate your UCC Trust account by Timothy Geithner, the United States Secretary of Treasury, to discharge your debts, you find out how much the bond is. You do that through going to www.fidelity.com, open an account. It's free to open for right now. Open it up, and you can put in your birth certificate number, which is your state file number, or either you can put in the back of your Social Security card or your Social Security card number on the front with the dashes. And that should be able to pull up how much the birth certificate is being sold for on the stock market. All right. There's also who has the stock market. Who has the birth certificate on the stock market, I should say, or the corporation that has it. Okay? Now, once you know that information, then you can write up a bond based off of that plus 20%. Adding 20% to that. All right? And actually use the birth certificate along with a 90, optional Form 90, optional Form 91, a affidavit of individual surety, being if it's district court or superior court, then you have to need 24, 25, 25A, which is the bid bond, performance bond, and payment bond. Or if it's federal charges, then you would need 273, 274, 275 of the bid bond, payment bond, performance bond, and payment bond. You would need these particular forms. All right. You will also go down to the Register of Deeds, get these bonds put on file with the Register of Deeds or clerk, and then you will enter this information into the individual's case. In this regard, Dr. York's case. All right. That's if the case was open again. Right now, the case is not open. So you will have to find a way in order to try to get the case open again. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the things that you will have to do. All right. There's a little bit more, but for the sake of time, I want to go to some more questions. All right. Anybody who want to know more information or whatever the case is, call me at 252-257-3588. All right. Let's go to some more questions, please. Is the UCC1 safe? Yes, it can be. The thing is that you just have to know what you're doing and do some research and study. The reason why individuals go to jail is because they don't do enough research and study on it. They just jump in and thinking that either someone is going to save them or you do all the work for them. And they don't have to do shit but just read. I mean, just don't have to do anything. You know, not even read, I should say. Because most of the time they don't even read. They're not even doing any research or any study. Okay? So, but they want you to spoon feed it to them, chew it up, put it in their damn mouth, you know what I'm saying, and make them swallow it. This is the wrong thought process. If you're not doing anything in order to free your mind, then I can't do that for you. All right? And also, you can't be dissolving your straw man. You can't be dead in that motherfucker. You can't dead your straw man. All right? That's murder. You can actually go to jail for that shit. So you capture it. All right? You want to become the master or the CEO of your debtor or your slave or of your corporation. All right? You want to become the secure party creditor. All right, and don't be signing your assets and your property over to no damn temple, church, mosque, or anything. If you want to do something, write a will to pass that over to your children. Because there's a whole lot of dumb shit that's taking place and going on in the community right now. All right? So tell them you heard this shit from Dr. Alim El-Bey. Now let's go to the next questions. Is do the 7 creative spirits in the whole Quran Surah 7, same thing. That's the 7 Elohims that we went over earlier, from Michael to Uriel. There's also the 7 principles of Tawhidi, which is the universal principles of polarity, correspondence, gender, rhythm, mentalism, vibration, cause and effect, which is karma and sex, which is sex, gender. Are they different? Yes, they have different aspects, but they're all part of the same principle. Okay, let's continue on to the next question. All right, caller 7565, you're on the line. Caller ended in 7565, you're on the line.
Peace.
Peace.
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing well. You got a question?
Yeah. I was just talking about I was just talking about Baphomet and
Baphomet. Mm-hmm.
So and I remember I came across something reading that actually the whole idea of Baphomet, and you said comes from Muhammad,
right?
And that the Templars were actually the Templars of Islam, and it was very interesting because I did some investigation on it, and what happened was that Templars of Islam, they were the ones who were persecuted. Now Jacques de Molay,
who was burnt upside down on an upside down cross, broken. So that's where the peace sign comes from. That's another story. Continue on, brother.
And then, so if you listen to his name, is spelled, it's de Molay. Molay is similar to Moon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it can be believed that this particular individual was a Moor.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It makes sense to me. Yes.
Yeah. So what happened was that they got when they got expedited and they got persecuted, they put in another group called they were more Christian Templars, or Templars of Christ, something like that, and and they took over from the Templars of Islam, and that's what I did in my research. But one question, since you're on Masonry and occult and esoteric, dealing with the Moorish paradigm or the Divine National Movement, as it came about with Prophet Ali, I'm just asking from your research and stuff, being that prior to that, we had Pastor Beverly Randolph's death, right, and they were plotting against him because he was like the most highest ranking Rosicrucian, right?
Right.
And then you had
he was the Supreme Grand Master of all the Rosicrucians in the world.
Yeah, and then you had the brother, Deuce Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? And then, they all... He
was a 96-degree Shriner and also a Rosicrucian.
Yeah,
so... Rosicrucian Fellowship, right.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is that because we know there was a plot behind them to overthrow them, you know what I'm saying? I think you spoke on it. I don't know if Azariah spoke on it, but I know you guys mentioned it. Do you think that the Divine National Movement, or just Noble Ali popping on the scene, was kind of like to answer that, or you know what I'm saying, like to combat that overthrow? You know what I'm saying?
I would say
information and give it to. You know what I'm saying?
I would say so. I definitely would agree with that scenario. From my research and study, I would see that as the only logical explanation and conclusion to that. Mm-hmm. Is the fact that he was taught by Noble Ali himself, as well as his family. Supposedly was taught by Jamal Afghani Bey, as well as also by Deuce Muhammad Ali Bey. That yes, they They was his teachers, and this information was used, in order to continue the progress of this Moorish paradigm here in the Americas. Jamal al-Ghani was one of the superior said Sufi masters and scholars.
Yeah.
And came into America, and not only did he teach the family of Prophet Noble Ali and Prophet Noble Ali, allegedly, but he also taught Helena Blavatsky, Amanda Blavatsky.
Yeah.
Was one of the arch enemies of who we find later on because of so much information that she was putting out. Supposedly there was a disagreement between her and Beverly Pastor Randolph. That's the reason why she broke away from the Rosicrucians in order to form a Theosophical Society. But initially, Jamal Afghani, as well as Pastor Beverly Randolph, those were her teachers. And when you see El Mora, standing behind her on the pictures, when you hear these names, all these fictitious names, these are all the teachers. These are the individuals. These are the Moors who actually was teaching her, or who taught her. Because she herself was a black Russian of Moorish descent. Right. That's why she had with that wavy hair when you look at it in those pictures.
Yeah, she knows how to fix. She do how to fix hair.
Right, exactly. So these are just things in which that we have to look at and examine. But I definitely agree with you with that connection. I definitely would proceed and continue going forward with it and seeing what comes out of it, because that is a theory in which that needs to be explored further. Especially.
I would love to see. Yeah, I would love to see a discussion between you and as a riot breaking that down, man. That'd be hot.
Well, it might happen. Just present it to him. You done presented it to me. Text me some of the info that you might have found out, and we can definitely go in on it.
All right. Yeah, I got some good stuff. How the pale skin infiltrated Islam in the early 19th century. Yeah. They sit scholars in. Yeah, I got some information on that.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm going to go to the next caller. Thank you, Ike. Thanks, Brother Talib. Peace.
All right, peace.
We're going to go to caller 3365, ending in 3365. You're on the line.
Peace.
Peace.
How you doing, Dr. Ali?
Doing well, Ike.
All right. I got a couple of questions having to do with meditation. I'm still in my 101s with the meditation thing, and I just want to know if you can elaborate on some things that, I still get plagued with all the thoughts coming in at the same time. Now, it becomes a period of time where I'm not plagued with the thoughts coming in while I'm trying to meditate. And I start to feel some funny feelings in my back, and almost like somebody put a cap on my head. Can you elaborate on what that is?
That's nothing more than a rising up the Kundalini energy. There's the upswelling of energy at 19 degrees. If I was able to take a 6-pointed star configuration or a tetrahedron and place it over or overlaid it over your physical body, at 19 degrees, I would find an upswelling of energy. Just like if I took it and placed it on planet Earth, at the Hawaiian Islands, I will find an upswelling of energy. In Japan, I will find an upswelling of energy. If I took it and put it on Mars, at the Sedona site where there's a face there, as well as also the pyramids there, in that particular area, there would be an upswelling of energy. If I took that 6-point star configuration and put it over the sun, the solar emphatic energy, which is the solar flares and the corona mass ejections, mass ejaculations, that is coming off, the solar plasma that is shooting off, which is the sunspot activity, would be right there at that 90-degree angle. If I took it and placed it over Jupiter, at the red, on the red area on Jupiter would be at 19 degrees. So it's always at 19 degrees that you will find an upswelling of energy. This is the actual location of your Kundalini energy inside of your physical body is at 19 degrees. So what that means is this, is that is what you was feeling The energy that was in your back is symbolic to what is called the earthquakes or the tremors or the thunders, in which that is mentioned in the book of Revelation. That is the earthquake.
Okay.
He's talking about the spasms.
Yeah.
You don't feel like little spasms because that is the raising of the Kundalini through the Sushumna, which is through the hollow area in the spinal column, through the 31 nerves, 31 plus 2 nerves, which give you 33 nerves. Hence the 33 spinal column, which is called the 33 vertebrae, also, which is where you get Freemasonry from. The Sovereign Grand Commander is that when you reach the 33rd degree, you tap into the reptilian portion of the brain, the limbic portion of the brain, and then to the mammal portion of the brain, the neocortex, frontal cortex, or that whole area of the brain. So at 33 degrees, you become sovereign. That's what it meant within Masonry, that you become a sovereign Inspector General. Or when you become part of the Supreme Council, you become the sovereign Grand Commander. Okay, so this is what this is so symbolic to. What you was feeling at the top of the head, the cap, was nothing more than the Kundalini coming up, arching over top of the crown, just like on the tiaras, or when you see the crowns of the ancient Egyptians or the priests, you would see the serpent coming up at the third eye area, which is symbolic to it coming up over top of the crown and then resting at the third eye area, which is in between the eyebrows.
All right. So and is there anything else to expect? Yeah. I mean, there's many more things. You can look up online what is called the Kundalini symptoms. The signs of Kundalini symptoms, or the signs and symptoms of the Kundalini. Just put that into your engine search in Google and pull it up, and you'll find a whole list of certain things in which that might take place, and you will see that that's probably what you are experiencing in certain aspects. Now, let's not deal with the 101. Let's go to the Holy Quran, Surah 7, where it speaks about, I think it's in the second chapter, it speaks about specifically that you must teach man the holy breath, and that the holy breath is the unifier and will bring peace. So it's the holy breath in which that is the unifier and which that brings peace to man. So it's the breath, the holy breath. So you must master that. So when you meditate and focus on your breath, and the more you focus on your breath, the less the thoughts would be rambling through your mind, the more you focus on your breath. So just focus on your breath, and you'll see those thoughts become less and less and less. Okay? All right, brother. Yep, thanks a lot.
Brother. Oh, you're welcome.
Peace.
Peace and blessings out.
Yeah.
All right, caller ending in 9239. Caller ending in 9239. You're on the line.
Peace, brother. Peace to the goddess and yourself.
All right.
My question is about involuntary rocking that began with my meditations. The only thing I don't know if that has anything to do with the Kundalini energy. I noticed before I was conscious of any of this information in yoga, sometimes I can start to see the outline of a bright light around my forehead, in my eye, kind of pop out, and hold on a moment, you don't stop moving, stop, be quiet. And so that is always there, especially when I'm breathing, especially when I'm doing the 3-part breathing, which you all call the complete breath.
Right.
But recently, within the last month, when I started doing the 9 Tibetan breaths of cleansing, or I bought a book called Awakening the Sacred Body, then when I started doing the mudra where I have my ring finger and my thumb in the meditation, then my body starts involuntarily rocking. Now, it does it all the time now, whether I'm in meditation or not.
Right. Well, what is going on is that the Kundalini has been activated, and there's a upswelling of energy, and with that upswelling of energy, sometimes it can be overwhelming, and in order to ease the raising of that, or the ascension of the Kundalini, you have to rock. All right? In other words, you have to move. That's what Qigong and Tai Chi and that's what that is for, in order to add the movements into the meditation, into the breathing.
Because I notice if I'm not moving myself, I will just begin to rock and sway on my own.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. It was the same thing within Qigong and Tai Chi. Sometimes, even within learning Tai Chi and Tai Chi Chuang or Qigong, you will begin to actually do movements on your own without you actually doing it, just like you're saying, because the Kundalini is moving you to do it. The Kundalini is the mother goddess spirit. She is moving you in these particular positions or dances.
Right, and I've noticed I've been dancing. I'll be stomping the ground. I'll be like almost moved to do a rhythm with my feet while I'm dancing. And secondly, I've noticed when I'm in the sweat room and at the gym, it took me a long time to realize that I was the only person seeing it until I was with my daughter. I said, "Do you see the rainbows around the light?" And she said, "No." It took me a long time to realize I could see the rainbows around the light. I said, "You can't see the light around the light?" And she said, "No." So then I said, "Oh, I can see the aura of these lights." I said, "Well, I wonder if I can see the aura on people." So I've been trying to see the aura on people, which I haven't done. But interesting.
Well, no, you have. You haven't mastered it yet. It's real simple. You have to have a person in front and behind them a white background, a wall in which that is white or beige or whatever the case is, real light background. And you would look at the top of the head, up near the forehead at the top of the head, and you would begin to see the outline of the auric field around the physical body. You would begin to start seeing the light. So that's how you have to start it. So just practice that.
Okay, so just continue to, I don't have anything, I know you played the song about being fearful, but, you know, when we're coming out of spookiness a lot of times, you know, and your body's moving and, you know, I've had a lot of experiences ever since I was a little child, so everything in this teaching makes absolute sense to me.
Right.
So, like, I don't have to fear, right? When my body is moving, I just need to follow it.
It's real simple. Go to the same place the brother I just gave to the other brother. Put into Google signs and symbols and symbols of the Kundalini. Signs and symptoms, of the Kundalini.
Okay.
So put in signs and symbols of the Kundalini. Put that into the engine searching tool, and you will see that is nothing more than one of the symptoms or one of the signs of the raising of the Kundalini. Is dancing, is the movements, the jerking of the body. That is nothing more than the Kundalini. And it's moving through blockages, it's removing blockages. So just go with the flow. Let it remove what it needs to remove. Because soon you will not be doing those involuntary movements. You will not be doing it. It's just doing that for right now because it's moving through certain conscious centers in your chakras. There might have been a blockage, or there might have been some type of stagnation or some type of energy, negative energy or debris in which that is latent there within that conscious center. Because remember, these are memories.
Okay.
You know, so
and one last thing, I flipped on the bed.
We have these memories. Go ahead.
Real quick, I did a backflip on a bed 5-6 years ago. Just, you know, trying to get up all fancy, but I snapped my neck. And it didn't hurt, but I heard it said pow, and there was this burst of light like I haven't experienced before or since. And I'm talking about at the base of my neck. I didn't hurt myself, but now that I'm in this consciousness and I know it's all about moving the Kundalini energy up through the light, I'm wondering, did I damage something? Did I bust some light out that wasn't supposed to be? It was like the brightest, most wonderful thing, but it was instantaneous. It was pow. Even the person in the bedroom said, "What did you just do?" I said, "I flipped backwards on the bed and snapped my neck." But it was that light. And it was one of those moments, it was a spiritual thing where I couldn't really explain. I was like, wow, what was that? You know, where did this light, what would that light come from? But it was because I snapped my neck.
Well, it's because the energy raised up to what is called the medulla oblongata, which is called the mouth of God, which is at the back of the head area, right above the spine and right below the skull. It's right at that little ball area at the back of the head.
Yes.
That is the area in which that light resonated from. That is where your past lives, as well as also your photographic memory, lies. That is in the medulla oblongata. That is your own personal Akashic records or your universal library. So the light in which that was flashing was nothing more coming from. It was emanating from that particular area.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. All right, Swift Louis, 143, you're on the line.
How you doing, brother?
Peace, brother.
I was wondering, for somebody who's kind of been self-initiated into this information and feels the Kundalini energy rising in themselves, what would be the benefit of joining something such as the Moorish Rite?
Because of the initiation, what happens is that the positive energy in which that goes on during the initiation, you would feel the energy flowing through you. All right? So the more rituals, the more ceremonies that you do, the more energy you accumulate. So it causes the upswelling of energy at the base of the spine and causes the Kundalini to have to move through those particular, I guess you can say centers, those 7 centers or those 7 seats of light, so it can move up, for you can ascend into the heavens. It's just like Muhammad on the night of Miraj. They would tell you that Muhammad went up into the 7 heavens. But how did he get there? He got there on an animal-looking creature, in which that was called a Baruch, Al-Baruch. But the word Al-Baruch in Arabic means white lightning. So this white lightning is talking about the Kundalini energy that took Muhammad, as it will take you swiftly, the quickening into the heavens, into the 7 heavens. Okay. They can do that as what's through. I mean, I'm sure you can't tell me, but I don't really understand the concept. It's a group of people, right? Yes, you got to understand that people emit this energy, this light. And as you go through initiation, this light is being emitted, and you're going to take on the light in which that is being channeled through the individuals, and which that is also being channeled through you. Gotcha. So the positive energy in which that is being channeled through the initiation is going into you as you become part of that brotherhood. Gotcha. And that's the purpose of the rituals and the part of fraternities and sororities is the brotherhood and the sisterhood. Fellowshipping. Why you think people can't break away from church? Because of the fellowshipping. The brotherhood and sisterhood that goes on in the church, which is being magnified by one person in there, which is the pastor, the preacher, the pimp, the hustler, whatever you want to refer to him as. He's there emitting that magnetism, that aura is being emitted through the congregation, and the congregation is feeding into that energy.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, no doubt. All right, we're going to go to the next caller, 9213. 9213, you're on the line. Peace. Peace. 9213, you're on the line. All right. We can't hear you. So what we're going to do.
You have a question from the chat room. Family wants to know if there's a Moorish Rights branch in New York.
Yes, it is. There is a Moorish branch in New York and New Jersey. You can get in contact if you go on Facebook. You can get in contact with Brother Jonathan Gill, which is spelled YAHNATANGIL. And our Grand Master, Alim El-Bey. That's AALIMBEY. And his title is the Al-Dey, ALDEY. And you can get in contact with him. Both of them is online on Facebook. And you can definitely get in contact with them, or go to www.moorishrightonline.net. All right? That's once again moorishrightonline.net. The Moorish Rite, once again, is different than the Scottish and the York Rites. The Scottish and York Rites, even though they do have their beginnings from out of ancient Egypt, as we already have gone over, like, for example, the word Scottish or Scotland come from Queen Skoda. Queen Skoda, according to Sex and Race by J. Rogers, Volume 1, get all his books, 1, 2, and 3. Get Nature's No Color Line, and get from Men to Super, from I think it's from Superman to Man. Get his books, J. Rogers. But in Sex and Race, he speaks about Queen Skoda, in which that the term Scotland comes from. It's from SCOTA, Skoda. That's where the term Scotland comes from. It's from her. Now, that was really Queen Hatshepsut, who was part of the 18th dynasty, and she was the first female pharaoh, or Naga, as we would say. Okay, this is who you're talking about. So she took the ancient mystery school system of Egypt into Scotland, and this is where they derived the 3 degrees of the mystery system from, and then the honorary degrees, which is the other 30, which you get 33 degrees, which is based on your spinal column, based on your 33 vertebrae. So let's stop all the spookiness about this. Each initiation symbolizes through each degree is nothing more than the Kundalini energy moving up through the 33 vertebrae. That's it. That's it. Then when you get to the York rites, that was formed by the Yorkshire Moors. That's YORKSHRIIRE. Yorkshire Moors. The Yorkshire Moors were in England, or as they would call it, during that time it was called the Anglo-Saxon, or the Angel. That's where Anglo come from the term angel. All right. So they was in that area. And also y'all can, y'all see, y'all can reach out to Brother Alchemy, Brother Thomas. He's the Grand Master in North Carolina. And also, for those who live in the surrounding areas, you can also get some good information from him. My wife just put it up. His number is 910-257-3648. That's 910-257-3648. All right. So this is the difference between the schools. The Moorish rite stems from the first Master Mason, who was known as Angelo Salome. He is the one who helped preserve the information when the Moors came into Europe from 711 to 1492. And after the information, after they left Europe, you had some Moors who went into other portions of Europe. You had some to go back into Africa. You had some to leave the east and come to the west, and who was doing trade and business with their brothers and sisters here in the Western Hemisphere. All right, but there was already schools set up here in the Americas, because you'll find that 87% of the Native American traditions, Indian traditions of Freemasonry, is identical to modern day Freemasonry to this day. It's almost identical. More than 87% of it is almost identical to the same Masonry. So this ancient mystery school spread it out throughout the diaspora. All right, spread it throughout the diaspora. So this is something which that you have to. All right, but we getting ready to end it there. I don't see any more questions, and I know I've done talk long enough. So what we're going to do? Hold on. Okay, we got some more questions here. All right, questions came out of nowhere. All right, we're gonna go to caller ending in 1604.
Hello, peace.
160, yes, peace.
Peace. I have a comment also for the young lady that was talking about the aura.
Yeah.
And another way you could see a person's aura is like through your peripheral vision.
Right.
You have to, like you say, you have to train yourself though, because it exists, and it's not spookism or anything.
That's
it exists. Right. It's like a white light. It's not only around the head; it's around the whole body.
That's
and
right.
A lot of objects have it. Like
that's right.
It's like the creator is in everything, and so by the creator being in everything and of everything, that aura is going to exist in everything also.
That's right.
And, yeah, I was just wanting to put that out there to this system. I got a question also. Are you a Mason?
I am a Moorish Rite Freemason. Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. All
right.
right.
I'm not going through the Scottish rites or the York rites. I'm not a Prince Hall. I am a Moorish Rite Freemason, meaning that I have a culture in which that I'm tied to, which is my Moorish history, my Moorish culture.
Oh, okay.
So we have the Moors were, if you read Stolen Legacy by George G. James, he tells you in it that the Moors preserved the information. They are the guardians of the ancient Egyptian mysteries. Well, by me joining the Moorish Freemasons, I became one of the individuals to help preserve this information. And as you see, I have no problems with giving the information out. So we are not holders or hoggers of the light. We shine the light on you. Matter of fact, so much so until I try to make you burst with it.
Well, I'm going to have to hit you. Do you ever be on Facebook? I'm going to have to hit you up on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook all the time, brother.
Right.
My name is Alim El-Bey. Yes.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace. All right, some of the books that you need to get: Fraternity of the Builders by Valencia Stratton. She was a student of Gerald Massey. Please get that book, The Fraternity of the Builders. She has another book by Valencia Stratton. It's called The Celestial Ship of the North. Get Egypt, Child of Atlantis, all right, by John Gordon. All right. Get The Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization by Anthony Broder. Get my book, The First World Order, The Global Path of the Ancient Ones. Break down all this information in there and plus more. 419 pages of nothing but straight facts. If y'all been liking this information that y'all been hearing for the last 3 months, I recommend that y'all get that book. We're not playing with the information. The same way that I give it out here online, on this phone, on this talk show, is the same way that we put it out in the book and even deeper. Because now you have an heirloom to pass on to the next generation, to your children. You can't do that with the Xbox. You can't do that with PlayStation. Okay, but y'all spend $200 and $300 on that shit. Get some real information, y'all. Get some real information.
And even worse, like the guy that said, $18,000 to a lawyer who just gonna hem you up.
Exactly.
Cut it out.
Exactly.
Shouts out to the family last weekend for the Baltimore Moorish Rights Conference. It was beautiful. Definitely want to do that again. We'll see y'all in 2 years.
No doubt. Peace to brother, to the Al Day. Peace to brother Alchemy. Peace to brother Gil. Peace to brother Chua. Peace to brother Wesley. Peace to all the brothers that came out who's part of the Moorish Rights. We love you. We appreciate you.
First World Order Radio, finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence, an indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the group based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this, something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so, I mean, these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.